One thing about me, if you didn't know, is I'm also an outdoor blades kind of bushcraft enthusiast. I love optics, I love rifles, I love shooting and long range, but I love to go camping and take a trip with a couple good blades. So I've got some LT Wright knives that people ask questions about pretty often, and I'm just going to show you what I have currently, and I'll tell you at the end what I'm hoping to get sometime in the next year or two. Number one, this is a very simple knife, but this was my first LT Wright knife. That's a Genesis. This one happens to be in 3V, and it's got a full flat grind. Actually, I'm going to bring it in a little closer. You can see full flat grind, no liners, and this is the one where I figured out I love the handle, and I supposed to myself that I probably would appreciate the liners because I have really big hands, and even though these are famous for having really big scales in general, I need bigger. Just generally, I need bigger scales, broader and thicker both. So broader and thicker usually does well for me, but this blade is phenomenal. I love it, and I will not get rid of this blade. Here's number one. Then this is going to seem redundant. It's not in my eyes. Here's another LT Wright Genesis, and this one happens to be in the double red micarta. Actually, no, this is just red micarta, I think, and that one is double red, if I remember right, something like that. I kind of forget with the designations, but I really enjoy that this is a Scandi, and it's A2, so it's very easy for me to touch up. You can see I have a mirror polish on that edge, very, very, very reflective. I love the thickness that LT has chosen for most of these, and the fact that I can get my hand right up there, can choke up on the blade, and there's just enough of a choil there for people who think that they need that. I could even do with not having a reduction here, but as it is, it's comfortable, and for my XL size hands, fits really well. I've used this for a lot of carving and a couple different trips now, but I just love the color, and it's kind of a classic knife. Reminds me of the Kephart, of course. Not done with the Genesis yet. Here's a Genesis in 3V, also a Scandi with liners. So with liners, it actually does make a difference, guys. Believe it or not, the blade still performs really well. It's 3V, so I think it holds an edge better than the A2 version does. But this knife right here is the most comfortable. It happens to be G10 instead of micarta, but phenomenal blade. Really, really smooth and comfortable all the way around. This G10 model is particularly smooth in hand. No hot spots, very good for carving. I've done quite a bit with this one. This is kind of a grail knife for me. Between these, I really like this one. That's why I have more than one model, and I actually do use them, believe it or not, all three. Then moving on down in size, it's only appropriate that I have a next gen. And as you can see here, this one is also in that double red. It's a little different than that red. This one's a darker red. This is A2, easy to sharpen, good little whittling knife, good for projects and tasks, and actually having my kids kind of learn how to use a knife. I've enjoyed using this one quite a bit. Still fills the hand pretty well, and when I don't want to carry a full-size knife, a lot of times this one comes with me. I do love the next gen knives. I probably won't pick up any more just because I've got enough of this type, but I'm happy with the ones I have. Really strong, never had scales come loose on me on any LT Wright knife. Then I have this, which is the, I think it's the mini Bushcrafter, and this one happens to be an A2 as well. You'll see a trend that I appreciate knives that are easy to sharpen when I'm out on a trip in A2. So those come with me a lot. The 3V is harder to sharpen, so it is usually just a day trip or a couple day trip. But if I think I'm really going to beat up on a knife, I actually kind of appreciate the A2 more. This one has a choil. I wish it didn't, but it has a choil there. A lot of people seem to like that. Very comfortable. I also really, pretty much like orange as the accent in any handle scale. Can pick it out a little easier. Fills the hand. It's a really solid knife overall. I've beat up on this one probably the most out of, yeah, I think all my LT Wrights. This one's probably been the hardest used. Still looks pretty good. It was kind of a convex grind or saber grind maybe. Yeah, I think this was a saber, and I've convexed it with use and time, and it is razor sharp. A2 takes a very good edge, obviously. And the last one I currently have is the Poco, or the Longhorn, rather. This, what is this one called? Is it the Longhorn? Man, I forgot. Comment down below for me if you remember what this one's called. Pronghorn, that's what it is. Pronghorn, yeah, I'm confident that's what it is. It's a double red, one more time with the double red. Just a huge fan of that coloration. No scales on this one. If I could go back, I probably would get something a little more unique or different to differentiate it from the rest of the blades that I have. This one has seen a lot of use. I've done a lot of spoons and Scandinavian crafts with this one. It's super easy to carry, and I've EDC'd it quite a few times. This one, just about everybody I put this in their hand, they like it, and it's actually the most affordable out of all of these. So I've got a few here. I don't need a whole bunch more knives. I really like blades, but I think the one that I would get next would be the Gen 3 from LT. That model has like a 6 1/4 inch blade. It's usually full flat grind or saber grind, O2 steel. Pretty large knife, but it's got even bigger handle scales than these, and that's something that has intrigued me and caught my attention. So comment down below which one you like the most and which one you would get if you could.